Well, I have seen them.
I know.
I'm ready for round 3.
Should I go topless?
She's seen me 100% naked
It would make me
before.
more uncomfortable. Just kidding.
Uncomfortable.
No, comfortable.
More comfortable if we were all naked.
I thought you said uncomfortable.
What if it
Oh,
was
I'm
just like
kidding.
Kyle and Allie love any opportunity to take off
Take
their
our
shirt.
clothes? Yeah, exactly.
I love any opportunity to see it.
What if this was like a strip podcast and like every 10 minutes we all just take off one more item of clothing?
How many items of clothing are you
love
wearing?
I don't know. We might need to put on more.
I'm fine. I have,
I'm making too
including
fast.
my socks, I have 6.
I'm loving the angle of this podcast already.
All right, good.
As naked as possible. I mean, besides me, I'll hold the camera.
You have to play along.
Although mine
Oh
only
my
one
God.
I was going to say you
I
have
only
one
have
jumpsuit on.
one piece.
It's going to be a
Oh,
quick
man.
strip
I better
podcast.
I
answer
know.
right.
Oops.
Sounds perfect. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Weddings Uncensored, where we drink and talk and talk and drink. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Allie, and we are here breaking down the good, the bad, and the downright crazy of this whole wedding industry. Cheers.
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 Thank you
We
for doing
have
God
a
bless the
very
morning cocktail.
exactly
you.
champagne in the morning on a Tuesday. We are very excited because we have a guest today. We have Kristina of Kristina Lee Photography. Kristina is an editorial wedding and boudoir photographer that specializes in making her clients feel absolutely fucking spectacular.
Yes.
And she has a penchant for curse words and alcohol
Yes.
like we do here at Weddings Uncensored. So we
Yeah.
knew that
Fuck
she
yeah.
would be a perfect
Yep.
guest.
Yep, cursors and cocktails.
We've
my
already
favorite.
been cursing and drinking, so we're off to a good start. I've also personally got to be in front of the camera for Kristina a couple of times and had a couple of the best, most empowering, wonderful experiences. So I have referred multiple friends to her, and everyone has like just loved the whole thing. So I couldn't be more passionate about having you on.
Thank you.
Also, you're a wonderful human. So cheers again.
I love you too.
Cheers.
Cheers again to all of that.
Cheers.
Yay.
What a great entrance.
I know, right? She's gonna have fucking
She's
hype
great at
woman
that.
everywhere.
She's
I know, I'm
great
like,
at
woo!
it.
Can I just put this everywhere?
She
You can,
I'm
actually.
I'm going to.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll cut you that clip. You
Please.
can put it there. Yeah. Well, we have lots of questions. Obviously, wedding photography is kind of like was your main business, and
Yeah.
you've shifted a lot into
Yeah.
boudoir. But can you just give us an idea of like how you got into all
Yeah.
of it, how the focus has shifted?
Yeah.
You know, all
well,
of
the
that.
funny thing is I started with boudoir first.
Oh, okay. I
Most
didn't
people
know
don't
that.
realize that because one of the hardest things about boudoir is marketing it, right? And especially, I actually started boudoir in college in the early 90s where I was like burning and dodging naked girls in the dark room, which was really
You were like,
interesting.
fuck yeah.
I was in it. Yeah. I was like, no one looking, right?
Yes.
Burning and dodging, looking around my shoulder. Yeah, I mean, that's where I started actually. I'll never forget it. I had a
I'm
project
going to
where...
move this a little closer so we
Please
can
do.
Thank you.
Move that near my
Put
mouth.
it in your mouth.
Put it as into my mouth as you can. I actually had a project in college where I had to sell. It was my photography project, and I had to sell jewelry. And for whatever reason, my first thought was naked bodies with jewelry. And I had these 3 friends that looked very identical. So without showing their faces, I had all 3 of their bodies just intertwined with jewelry, and that's kind of where my love affair with boudoir came
Oh,
from.
that's
And I've been
sick.
doing it ever since. I just never really. I don't know why. I just ended up kind of making a turn into weddings, and then I really do love weddings, but I always did boudoir.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is my boudoir is my passion.
Yeah.
So like, why am I not putting more effort into this? So I've learned a lot more about it, getting the okays with images and being able to use them and having that conversation with my clients so I can actually promote it.
That's
because that
funny.
is really hard.
Yeah, actually, we'll skip ahead. I feel like I have
Go
so
for
many
it. No,
questions,
go,
but we put it out there to like our listeners and followers if they had questions, and that was one of the
Yeah.
specific questions. Was like, if you look at your Instagram or on your website,
Yeah.
like if I book a shoot with you, are you instantly gonna post
No,
me on
absolutely
Instagram?
not. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I get the permission, and I have that conversation. I love what I do, but your comfortability is my number one goal.
Yeah.
Because for you to do it at all, you have to feel safe.
Yep.
And if you don't want one image out, nobody to know, then it is what it is. It ends right
Yeah.
there, and I'm okay with that because
Yeah.
that is my number one goal is for you to be comfortable.
Yeah.
As an artist, do I want to share it? Yes, but the experience I've already had as an artist is what I love, anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it can be really hard in the marketing business side because it's really hard to market it.
Well, I mean, how many people will just willingly be like, yeah, trust me with your naked photos
Yeah,
of yourself
no, not
for
a lot.
all of eternity?
And I give my clients 3 options. Option 1, full use. Option
Okay.
2, limited use, like anything
Get
that doesn't show
approval.
my face.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
option 3, you tell me what you're comfortable with.
Right.
Like maybe I show you first, you say yes or no approval at all. So I kind of give them a variety of usage approvals.
Do you guys get a lot of pushback with wedding clients and like using photos on social? I feel like I've had a handful that are like, I'm not okay with this being out there.
I feel like it's usually I get an NDA beforehand.
Yeah, it's usually somebody a little bit more famous or something,
Yeah.
not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or somebody that's just not. I've had a few.
Yeah.
It's usually like
Some people will be like, I'd rather you like. With some people will do that mainly with vows sometimes
Yeah.
for videography.
like what they feel comfortable.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll record their vows because they're beautiful, but then they'll ask later of like, hey, can we only have the vows like as a separate video just for us? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure. It's your
Yeah.
video. You hired me
Yeah,
for
and
you.
that-
That's it. You
Yeah.
know?
That makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting because wedding vendors, we're really kind of brought into this very intimate day with so much family and
100%.
like so personal, but there's like this juxtaposition of like how everything's on fucking Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're
Yeah.
almost doing the wedding like for Instagram these
Yeah.
days.
Yes.
And so it is kind of an interesting thing.
with Boudior, one of the conversations I have is to say, just so you know, you were inspired by these women's images, so you could be part of that inspiration for someone else. So
I
think
love
of it
that.
in that way, whatever you're the most comfortable with, because it doesn't necessarily have to show your face. It doesn't have to be too naked. It could
Yeah.
be more dressed, but know you were inspired to do this by the other images and
Yeah.
then their ability to be, open with it. So just kind of look at it that way.
Yeah.
Is usually what I have a conversation with. But
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm also 100% protect what they're comfortable with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's understandable that
Yeah,
not everyone
yeah.
wants their ass all
No,
over the internet.
no.
I love my ass all
I
over the
love
internet.
that you love it.
But it's
I
not for
love it.
everybody.
I do get really excited when I get the 100% okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
Because
go,
that's-
no holds barred. Yeah.
That's when I do behind the scene videos.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to say I've seen a couple of the BTS
Yeah.
videos and they're amazing
Oh,
because
thank
you're
you.
like, I don't know. When I think of a boudoir photographer, sometimes my bias or my initial reaction is just like, oh, they're just there with the camera and be like, yes, move a little this way and move this way.
Oh, I get crazy.
And this way. And then it seems kind of like quiet and dull.
Mm.
But then when I looked at your BTS,
Yeah.
it's fun, it's lively. You're
Yeah.
doing the poses. You got the music on in the
Yeah, I
background. I
get
was like,
so
oh,
pumped.
this is where boudoir photography should
I
be
get
at right
so
here.
pumped.
This energy is perfect. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Sometimes I won't even post a video because I'm like, oh, that's a little much. I'm like, oh shit, But I'm in it when
Yeah.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even
Hands
realize
on.
what I'm doing. I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped about it that I just don't even realize how
Yeah.
crazy I sound.
You can feel the passion. So, okay, that kind of leads me to my first question, which is, if you are someone shopping around that is not, located here, to hire you, of course, but is there some things that people should be looking for as they're looking through galleries, as they're looking through Instagrams and websites? If you're shopping around, you've decided you want to do a boudoir shoot, like what should they do first?
Well, I think recommendation is really great. So if you know somebody who's done it, because then you can have firsthand understanding of how it went. But I think style is really important first, because there is so many different styles of boudoir out there. There's either moody or, editorial or light or studio, or there is actually a variety of style. And then after that, it has to be how you connect with the photographer, because that's how you're going to get comfortable.
Yeah.
That's probably number one, but you won't know that until you're attracted to the style.
style.
So style, I would say, comes first. I think the moment you see an image and you like the way it's shot, you like the way it's lit, you like the energy behind it, then I would get to the website and see what the style of the photographer, what they say, what they're conveying, and then get on the phone with the photographer and see if you're comfortable.
No, I love that because I think that can also apply to almost really any other vendor of like, okay, what is the style of this vendor specifically? Because most vendors for weddings or boudoir, it's art.
Yeah.
So everybody has their preference of what they like to do.
Totally.
But then you also need to make sure that you vibe with that person.
Yeah, you gotta vibe.
Because they can have great work, but if they're dull and boring to talk to on the phone and you want someone that's going to be hype and excited, that's not a good match then.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd rather change the style a little bit
Yeah.
and go with someone that I know I'll have fun with.
Especially for something like boudoir, where
Yeah.
it is
100%.
so intimate.
It's
but
so intimate.
I do think that that's important for people, because we talk about that a lot with wedding photography, is like there's different styles. And if you fall in love with these super editorial drone shot videography, but then you like hire the guy that's documentary and candid, like you're not going to be happy.
Exactly.
But I don't think that like an average client or whatever, they're even looking at it that way. So, I mean, I guess like this might be kind of granular, but like if you're looking through galleries, like what are those tips of finding patterns or like things that are similar within different galleries. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think with boudoir, it's definitely, you have to look at the editing style for sure.
Yeah.
Because there are some boudoir photographers out there that don't do any type of editing whatsoever. And I think that's also a really great style if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Or ones that really edit a lot, which goes really editorial, really moody, really edgy, which is also really great. I love that style too. So I think with boudoir, you kind of have to first be attracted to how it's edited because you'll know that that's what yours will look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say posing because I don't use the same poses on every girl because not every girl's comfortable with some of those poses. Yeah. Or some girls are really self-conscious about certain things and really love certain things. And so I kind of go with what they're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
Some girls don't care and I get crazy and hang them off rafters and make them hang off couches. But it really comes down to, I was going to say it, but
hanging off rafters.
Say who was comfortable without saying who was comfortable. You know, it just, I really kind of flow with the comfortability of the girl because I want, and sometimes the first 10 minutes she's shy and the last 30 minutes she's like nuts. So it's like you never really know. So I think it really comes down more to the editing with boudoir.
How do you know if you see a good boudoir photographer?
Oh, that's a good question. That's solid. Ooh.
I literally just thought of that right now.
That's hard. Yeah. That's a hard one. God, I don't even know how to answer that, to be fair. I think I love different ones for different reasons, you know? Actually, one of my favorites is a male, and he's really good at just making the women feel comfortable. So I've watched a lot of his videos. He's really good at making them look very beautiful, but very natural, very comfortable, very sensual, without it being overly sexy in a lot of ways. And I think that's a huge challenge for a male photographer for sure. So I really respect what he does. I think it depends. Yeah, that's a hard one. That's rough.
How do you think that like a lot of people feel more comfortable with women photographers? Like, is the boudoir field mostly taken by women? Or?
I feel like that's more of a client question because I'm not sure because I don't know how I could do what I do if I wasn't a female because I'm so crazy. Yeah.
Well, you certainly have a lot more empathy for like women's bodies and like, you know, maybe like areas where we don't feel as confident or things like that. Whereas guys maybe just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I think
it's client by client base. Yeah. Because like there are such good male photographers out there. So it's just, it has nothing to do with talent. I think it completely has to do with the comfortability of the client.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure on that one actually.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I was just thinking, I'm like, how do I know if I'm looking at a good photographer or not? And I don't feel like I can base it off of one question. So
just in general, it's art, right? So what makes you feel something?
I'd say if you stop at it and you're thinking of it, I think that's probably your answer right there. Because if you're just like, ooh, because I've definitely been like, woo.
Yeah.
Would you still feel that way? Let's say out of 100 photos, there was only one that made you feel that way. Would you say that's still a good boudoir photographer? You see what I mean, though?
I think for me, I guess from my perspective, being a boudoir photographer, if I were to stop at just 1 out of 100, then I'm thinking, wow, that guy's really good. Or that girl is really good. Because like I look at these images all day, every day. So if I'm inspired by someone's work, then I'm really intrigued by who they are.
That's true. Yeah. It's not fair for like your eyes versus like an average person's eyes.
So if I'm really inspired by someone, then I'm like, whoa, then I dig in deep. Like I want to know everything about them. I watch all their videos. I'm at their Instagram because I'm just like, I want to know everything about them because it does take a lot for me to be inspired by someone's work. You know,
I'm curious when we give the advice of when you're shopping around for a wedding photographer, a videographer, is not just to look at their Instagram or like, you know, a highlight gallery, but like look at a full gallery. Because the majority of the photos are not framers,
100%,
and that's okay. Yeah. And so when people are shopping around, like, is it okay to ask for like a full gallery to see of somebody? Would that be something you'd recommend?
I think it's totally okay to ask, but know that they might not have the ability to give it to you.
That's a little different.
Yeah, because if I have a client that said, yes, you have partial okay on those images, then that means I have to respect their comfortability. And their privacy. So that would be one thing if you're shopping and if a photographer says that, it's not that they don't want to share it, but that the privacy of the client comes first.
Okay.
So that is a little harder because what I'm sharing on Instagram isn't showing actual physical body parts where there are some of that in the gallery.
Yeah.
So where someone's totally fine in lingerie is not going to be fine
your whole
naked
vagina
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which I can't show on Instagram anyway. So, but
was like,
I can on my
Instagram.
website, but I
Yeah.
still don't really.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I would prefer that to stay private for the client, but you can technically, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the mystery.
Yeah,
Fun too, right?
Yeah.
But,
I
okay.
love suggestive nudity. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing sexier than like, do I see a nipple?
Yeah,
You
you
know?
Uh-huh. Wait, is
Or-
her finger lifted or
What?
is
Yeah.
that closed?
Like-
I don't know what's going on
Like,
right now.
whoa,
Yeah.
that's really close to that part.
I
you
like
know?
that.
I
Yeah,
think
that is like what makes it hot, though. Yeah.
Suggestive nudity is my favorite.
That's what makes it not porn, I
Yeah,
guess, too, right?
exactly.
Because you're not
True.
just like, that's a butthole.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, so many times I've said that.
if I had a nickel for every butthole, oh shit, that's a butthole.
That's a
Can't put
butthole.
that on
Damn.
Instagram.
They all
Shit.
look the same. Relatively.
All buttholes are beautiful. We can add that to your slogan.
That will be my next slogan. All buttholes are beautiful.
Oh my god. What was
my
it?
God.
Sex and murder.
Sex, murder, and buttholes
Yeah.
are beautiful.
There we
I mean,
go.
I feel like we're really
We've been
wrapping up my
brainstorming.
vibe. Yeah.
We like a real murdery
This
theme.
is the podcast last branding session.
Always hustling, baby. So I think like one of your greatest talents from my personal experience and all my friends have said like, I think the finished product is awesome. Like, obviously, I love the photos and seeing them, but I think like the actual shoot was just as valuable to
fun.
me as the finished product, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
Agree, yeah.
And making people feel comfortable and beautiful is certainly your like strong suit.
Yes, yeah,
so
thank
what
you.
and that's probably the thing that people are most nervous about too. Like, how do
100%.
I do this? How do I take off my
Yeah.
clothes and get in front of a camera?
Yeah.
And how is Kristina going to bring this out of me?
Yeah.
So what are your tips and tricks and why are you so fucking good at it?
Well, thank you. My head is so big. I'm glad I didn't wear a hat today. Honestly, it's hard for me to answer because I truly don't I just don't really know if it's something I practice. It's just kind of my personality.
Yeah.
But I think with my brutal honesty in a way that isn't, it's not like I'm mean by any means. What I mean by brutal honesty is when somebody calls me, they're like, I'm really uncomfortable. And I'm like, well, of course you are. You're going to get naked in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you be
Yeah,
uncomfortable?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's totally
You're
normal.
like,
Yeah.
I'm the only one comfortable doing
Yeah,
this
yeah,
because I'm in the profession.
Yeah, like I'm just very upfront, and then also like during the shoot, like a big okay, I can see you're getting your head. Let's shake it off. Let's shake it off.
Yeah.
Let's have some champagne. Let's dance for a minute. Like, what is it? What's going on? What are you uncomfortable with? And I also think like I'm not trying to make you be something you're not. You know, so like I'm not telling you have to wear lingerie. If you don't want to wear lingerie, don't wear lingerie.
Yeah.
Wear whatever makes you feel really sexy and really beautiful. I don't think it needs to be fit into a category of naked or lingerie. Yeah. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
could, like you're still one of my favorites. The No Bra Club top.
Yeah, a little
One of my
t-shirt.
favorites. You know? I love it when it's outside of the box a little bit
Yeah.
because I think that adds a little bit more personality to it, makes them feel more comfortable, makes them feel like they're not trying to be something that they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that automatically makes them a little bit more comfortable. But mostly, like, it's just as soon as they get there, I always spend the whole hour they're getting hair and makeup talking to them, chatting with them, finding out what they're doing it for, talking about their life. So by the time they're taking their clothes
Rapport.
off, we've
Yeah,
already
yeah.
been chatting for like an hour. And
Yeah.
I've been feeling that champagne.
I was gonna say and champagne,
I've been topping that champagne. as much as
champagne
possible.
and Lizzo on full blast
Yep.
really,
Love it.
really
that
helps.
music's up as loud as it can
Yeah,
be.
like
Love
you
it.
said to your point before,
Yeah.
like not quiet. Like quiet is
No.
that would be so
Quiet's
weird.
No.
Yeah.
The dull and quiet. That's I don't know why. That's what I thought it would be like. But then
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like just to blow up your head a little bit more, but I
mean,
felt,
okay.
Please keep
Go
going.
ahead.
I felt like the experience, especially the last shoot that I did, was like a celebration, for lack of a better word, like a celebration of like my body, like my sexuality,
Yes,
like my
agreed.
womanhood, like all of that.
Yeah.
And so it didn't, I mean, uncomfortable was the opposite of it, but it was like so joyful
Yeah.
that it wasn't even about like sexy. It
Yeah.
was more like
Just having fun.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that that's important too. Is like it doesn't have to be all about
Not
like
at
how
all.
can I look like a porn star.
Yeah, no, yeah, not at all.
I don't know what that.
That's very sexy.
'Cause-
You should do that
Because
for your
porn
next
stars
one.
do that.
Bookmark that for the
I
next
swear
shoot.
the shoot
Sounds
looked
good.
bad. I
I'm
wasn't
gonna
doing
mark
that.
it, actually. There we go.
But yeah, I think that there are lots of other reasons that people
Yeah.
do shoots other than just like for a man
Agreed,
too, right?
Completely. Oh yeah. And honestly, 98% of the time they walk in thinking they're doing it for their partner, and
Yeah.
they walk in being so grateful they did it for themselves.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
And to me, like outside of what I produce, like getting that hug, getting that text message after, and seeing their face, like is beyond worth it to me every single time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's my favorite part, honestly. Especially and they're hugging me and they're a little drunk and a little sweaty, a little naked.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, bring it in.
Yeah. Well,
it's my favorite.
It's
honestly.
really, it's a superpower that you have. So congratulations, because you are very, very good at it.
I love naked women, man.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
I love a naked
Amen.
woman.
Amen.
More buttholes.
No.
Yes.
Sex, murder, and buttholes.
Walk me through like the process. So we've booked you, like, or maybe we haven't even booked you yet. Like from intake form to planning the shoot. How do they decide what to wear?
Yeah.
How does hair and makeup work? Like, give me kind of run through the whole process.
Well, everyone's a tad bit different. I know it's like a crazy thing to say, but I don't have a very I can't say that word.
Formulaic.
Formulated. Thank you. Formulatic.
I got you.
Formula.
Formulatic. So glad you invited me to talk. I do have somewhat of a formula to it, but not totally, because it really depends on whether or not they're doing a full experience, whether or not they're doing a destination, whether or not it's a referral, whether or not they're emailing me, whether or not they just called me. So it's like everything's like a little bit different, and I just think that's in general how I handle everything. I don't handle every person the same. I just don't. I go completely off their energy, what they're doing it for, and how our conversation's going. Yeah. But for the most part, I try to get them on the phone because I think that's a lot better, so I can kind of conversate through any questions they have or any concerns they have.
Yeah.
And then depending on what they want is kind of how we go from the package. Then I just book them online and then go from there. But I always make sure hair and makeup is included because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I also conversate with them whether or not they want champagne, if they want anything, if they're drinkers, because I don't want to make them drink, but if they want to drink, I encourage it.
Yeah.
At least a cocktail or two. But if they don't like champagne, I always ask them, what do you like? I'll make sure
Something.
it's there. You know, I find out what kind of music they like, so I make sure that's pumping. Yeah, it's all kind of based on the conversation, really.
Yeah.
But as soon as that conversation's over, then I'm sending them an online booking, get them locked in, get the date locked in, you know.
And so the majority of shoots, I mean, I know specifically for you, you do stuff on location and in a studio. Like, do you think that that's the case for most boudoir photography in general? Like, is it ever like at your house?
I have done in-home boudoir, yes.
Well, not your house.
The
client's house. Yeah.
I think the majority of boudoir photographers do it in studio. I actually don't think there is almost any, or if not a very small amount that do destination like I do.
Yeah.
And I ended up just on a whim thinking I really wanted to try it this one time because I was really inspired by this one photographer's bungalow style of images. And I'm like, well, where do I get a bungalow? Maybe I should rent one. Wait, maybe I'll turn it into a whole thing. Yeah. So that's kind of like where that came from, and that's just been going off ever since.
Yeah.
But I'd say 98% do it in a studio. Yeah.
Okay.
But I have done it in homes before. Absolutely. I've gone to people's homes.
Okay. So tell us about the destination boudoir, because I think it is
obsessed.
super, super unique. And
obsessed.
you just did a shoot in Joshua Tree, which one of our Pop the Champagne girls and a friend of the podcast was one of your people that went and did it.
Oh my gosh, she's so fun.
Which she's so awesome.
I love her so much.
I know. But yeah, I mean, that's like a totally like unique experience for people who have done boudoir. Like, is that something that you think it's good for anybody? Is it something that's good for people who have maybe already done a studio shoot and they want something different?
I think it's good for both. And the reason why I think it's good for both, well, one, because if you've already done studio, then it's great to do something different. Yeah. But when you're new to boudoir, what's cool is like, what is a better way to put you in a good headspace than a little mini vacation? Right?
Yeah.
So you're completely out of your town, you're completely out of your world, you're completely out of your day, which automatically puts you in a different headspace. You know what I mean? Then you come into this beautiful home and you've got a makeup and hair artist, you got music popping, this house is gorgeous, you're being fully pampered. It's a completely different experience than a studio. Obviously, you're being pampered in a studio, right? Yes. But it only has so much, where this beautiful home has multiple places to go lay your body on. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you get to see these homes you wouldn't normally go to, and you're just kind of like in a totally different kind of like vacation headspace, which I think helps when it's your first time.
Yeah.
For
sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's great when it's your second time because you've already done studio.
Yeah, and it just feels different.
Yeah, I get to really enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, vacation brain, I feel like it does. You lose your inhibitions a little bit in general.
You
like
don't really
everyone's
care what
done
you're wearing at that point.
Absolutely.
You know?
Everyone's had like freakier sex, like in a hotel,
100%.
or like, you know, like you're doing things a little different.
Yeah, things are popping
We're being a little edgy. We're being a little edgy on purpose.
We can do this. We can push the boundaries.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that put you in more excited. Like usually, I've had clients bring friends. Turn it into a little bit of a party.
Yep.
You know, both times I've done it so far, I've had returning clients and new clients, so it's really cool.
That's very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, that's a good sign if you're able to get both new and retaining, because obviously now people just want to keep coming back and forth.
Yeah, I love returning clients. It's such a huge, compliment.
It's like an affirmation.
Yeah.
Like,
but
we
it's
don't really.
also a challenge.
I bet.
That's true, because you got to do something different.
Because I've actually had a client that's come to me 3 times, and by the third time I'm like,
What now?
Because it's in the same studio at the time. Like it was,
gotcha.
I wasn't doing Destination at the time, but I love a challenge too. So
that's true. Bring something else out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if you're doing something different for your second shoot or just in general, like how are clients picking their outfits? Like how many looks is normal and how does that work with hair and makeup? Like do a lot of people come to you with kind of no idea already or do people have a vision?
All the time. Which I think I'm going to start curating a little. I'm kind of like looking back at the last, decade I've been doing this and looking, actually longer. And I'm realizing, okay, like I need to curate this a little differently, give a little bit more information in that department. But usually I always get lots of conversations about outfits. I always tell them like what makes you feel beautiful, what's important to you. Here are some ideas. I also tell them bring as much as you want and I'll edit it down. But normally in a full session, they're not wearing more than 3 to 4 outfits because by the 4th outfit, like they're going to start to get burnt out a little bit. And I want everything to feel very new and fresh and like unique and exciting and, and genuine. By the 4th, 5th outfit,
you're like, wait, do that thing again.
Oh, okay,
here we go.
Again. Yeah, exactly. And I usually try to say like maybe that 4th outfit is nudity, like suggested nudity or just a sheet or maybe you're just in the water or something like that. But I kind of let them know you're anywhere between 3 to 4 outfits max. Yep. But bring as much as you want and I'll edit it down.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, again, just from experience, like the thing that you think that looks the best or like looks a certain way. And then when you get the images back, you're like, actually that was like really
way
hot.
better.
Yeah. Like you just don't know sometimes.
Yeah. And I usually tell them you can text me images. We can conversate the entire time. I'm happy to help you through the whole process of picking outfits.
Yeah, the whole process is new and overwhelming for a lot of people. Yeah. So for sure.
I do tend to get a lot of clients, especially in the last year, that really love that I'm showing things outside of lingerie.
Yeah.
Because like not everybody loves lingerie or not everyone's comfortable in that because it doesn't feel like who they are. So they love that I'm kind of showing something a little outside of that.
Yeah. It could be like, it's super random and totally derail.
I love it.
This is what Kyle does.
But
I love a derail.
But do you know like how some people have issues with certain textures?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So like I know people that don't like the texture of silk or don't like some textures of certain types of like cotton and stuff. So like for example, like if I wanted, like Stephanie doesn't like silk. So if I ever thought about getting her like anything silk pajama, silk anything, she'd be like, thanks.
Never wearing
I'm never wearing
it.
this.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So
I had this one client in Joshua Tree last year, and it was her second time shooting with me. And she put on this amazing outfit. Like as a visual person, I loved it. It was strappy. It was crazy. It was edgy. It was amazing. Yeah. But I could feel her energy was depleted while she was in it. And I kept trying to get her to do stuff. And I knew her well because I've already shot her. I'm like, what's going on? Like what's happening? And then she switched to her second outfit, was a full body lace, and she just came alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's happening? Yeah. And she's like, I just wasn't that comfortable. I'm like, babe, you do not have to wear anything you're not comfortable in.
Yeah.
Like whatever you soar in is what you need to wear because this is about you. This isn't about what you think it should be.
And the images are only going to look better the more comfortable that you look. Yes, I mean, we talk about that with wedding photography too, is like, you can tell some of these girls find a dress and they're just like so into the fashion of that dress, but they like can't fucking walk or sit or they look like arms. Or go pee.
That happens all the time.
Yes.
Oh my God.
No arms.
They can't even hug their husband. No. They're like,
I can't have a cocktail. I can't pee. I can't do anything.
But they look beautiful.
Yeah, but
you look great, but I know you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's
the worst. We don't have any dance footage of you either.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't dance in it.
You're immobile.
Weddings and boudoir shoots, you need to move.
Yes.
It is a real like movement.
Real movement.
Yeah. I would say even more so for boudoir. I feel like the more movement I would see in boudoir, the more impact it makes. For video, I'm like, I can move around, and not too much needs to be happening.
Totally.
But
and that's why, like with my new site I just launched, I'm trying to show images that aren't just lingerie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about that.
Yeah.
Nothing sexier than a wet tank top.
Feeling sexy. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Whatever makes you feel sexy and edgy and yourself is what's important.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that can mean literally anything.
Literally anything.
Anybody. They can be a furry? A furry? They could be a furry.
That would be interesting if I got that call.
Have you had anyone?
I'd be like, that's okay.
Has anyone worn a full like cartoon helmet, like or whatever,
That I have not had.
Everybody has their kinks, all right?
I was watching Kyle to be like, I wonder where he's going with
everybody has their kinks. Everybody has their kinks.
I did have this one girl. I really loved her idea. She did it for her 20th wedding anniversary, and her wedding dress was 2-piece. So she had just the skirt on, nothing else, just the skirt on, sitting on the ground, pouring champagne everywhere.
Cute.
I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
What a celebration!
Yeah.
And she's wearing the dress. She's giving it to her husband, but she's also naked.
Yeah,
I loved that. I was like, see, it can
cool.
kind of be anything you want it to be. You know
that's so fun.
Yeah.
And I felt like looking through my galleries, like I resonate so much with the ones that I look like myself too, like you said. So like the ones where I'm like smiling, like where I'm trying to be like too serious, like it's just so not me, you know? And so
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah, well.
You've got a sexy face, girl.
Don't cross your eyes when you do that.
When you hit that sexy face, that picture in the pink, don't even trip. That was so hot.
Oh, we'll have to.
Should we
two
insert
seconds
photo?
Insert
photo?
I'll
Okay.
share the gallery.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, 2 seconds later,
Everyone can
you're
see
laughing,
my.
but
All the followers can see my butthole. There's a whole butthole series Kristina did.
No, if you want to,
This is
you
my
must
butthole series.
you must subscribe to her OnlyFans.
Oh, that's true.
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah,
Let's
there
make
you
some
go,
money
there
off
you
of
go.
this,
No free-
Allie.
no
okay?
free foot pics.
Let's
No.
We'll add the OnlyFans link for everybody else.
For the record, I don't have.
You're
an
welcome.
OnlyFans. Jesus, my mom listens to this.
Mom, I've been telling her she
Mom,
needs
we're starting
to
it
get
now.
I should. She would be like,
Thank
should start an
you.
OnlyFans, bitch. Is there money to be made?
Yes.
You found a photographer.
I got you, girl.
Don't leave money on the table. That's what my mom would say.
Wouldn't be my first OnlyFans conversation.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Seriously.
That's so funny.
100%.
Okay, so obviously this is a wedding podcast mostly,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people do boudoir shoots for their wedding.
A ton.
Talk to me about like how the best way to do that is like prior, if depending on like, I'm assuming people want to give it to them on the wedding day, there's that. Or then like, can people do boudoir shoots on their actual wedding day?
I've
like
done that
pre-wedding?
too.
Like
What?
how-
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a few clients do that,
Yeah.
and I think it's really cool because it's like, you look fucking good. Like
Yeah.
you've been
you're
doing all the things.
You were at your best that day.
Hey, you fit in the dress? We're taking photos.
Notch.
You probably
You're at the top of your
Oh,
level.
yeah.
not to say that as a bride you have to diet or anything like that, but
Yes.
more than likely you've been taking your skincare
100%.
routine
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
You've been
Your nails are done.
Your hair,
is
your
done,
hair
wax
is
color,
colored.
The wedding,
toenails.
wedding is one of the most largest investment days ever.
It is.
You
Exactly.
better have some motivation to look your
Yeah.
best on the largest
So
investment.
to spend an extra 45 minutes and take some naked photos on that day is like, why?
Yeah.
It kind
Please.
of makes sense.
Why not?
No,
Yeah.
it's actually a lot of fun on the wedding day as long as you feed it into the timeline.
Yes.
As long as we're-
I'm
yes.
sure you
Timeline,
definitely
logistics,
know.
yes.
But as long as it's in the timeline, it is a lot of fun because it's almost that same mindset of being on vacation, right? You are at your most euphoric on your wedding day.
Yeah, the adrenaline's
Right,
already
Yeah.
crazy high.
You're on your champagne. Your girls are there. Your hype team is there.
Yeah.
You feel so beautiful. Hello, your hair and makeup's already done.
Done.
You know what I mean? So it
Might
is
as well.
actually pretty smart as long as you really work it into your timeline properly.
Yeah.
Timeline and then probably also location. I'm thinking about some
Location.
people that are like getting ready in
In a
these like
kitchen or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
a janky
Let's not do
ass.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
something I've been wanting to see too from just general wedding photographers is potentially adding, it's not really a boudoir. I mean, is it? I don't really know. But the getting ready, they're all wearing robes. That is the perfect time in my mind. I'm like, wait,
Doing something sexy.
you finished your hair and makeup. You're not doing anything right now. You're waiting for your other bridesmaids to get more photos taken of.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, that is a great opportunity to
Oh, I've done it. Yeah. Hey,
take
just slip it
some,
off a little.
yeah, 100%.
rub off a
Get some
tiny,
of those
tiny
photos.
bit. Yeah, now?
100%. And that can be like a separate little thing, you know, like
Yeah.
off to the side, not in the main
Doesn't have
wedding
to be like a
gallery.
full shoot.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, it's not in the main wedding gallery either.
Yeah, no.
Like
no,
it's
I
a
keep it
separate scene.
Oh,
You know what I
totally
mean?
separate.
It's
Yeah,
a completely separate scene and
Yeah.
only for the other
You
person.
share the gallery with all the vendors.
Oh
Everyone's
God,
like,
done!
yeah, your DJ's like, hello. What happened?
I'm gonna tag all the vendors for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely done that. If I have a client that I know I can like kind of
Yeah.
joke around and push that a little bit and give it a
Yeah.
5 minutes and do something like super cute. But I've also had clients that have booked like a full like hour in that timeline.
Yeah.
And it's real cute because I run home. I make sure they have at least 5 to 6 to like wake up in the morning to show him immediately the first thing in the morning.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if people want to, like, I mean, I guess what are people doing with the finished product of these boudoir photos? A lot of people, I mean, I've seen clients that will make like a little album and give it to their partner on the wedding day.
Those are fun to record. The
Yeah, I
reactions
know they are. They're
hilarious.
so funny.
Yeah. So if you are, like, if that's something that's interesting to you, like, doing it in advance, obviously, like figuring out how long it's going to take for the photographer to get those back and stuff. Like, how would you kind of advise someone to go about that?
I tell most of the girls who are getting married to give it at least at the most, like, or at least maybe 2 month before the wedding, only because I can't guarantee shipping 100%.
Yeah.
Not since COVID. I swear it's been up and down with shipping.
Yeah.
I mean, I can rush my part of it. I can ask for rush shipping, but if you don't want to be stressed, you want to make sure that you want to give it a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd say a month before your wedding is like the tightest.
spot.
Tightest.
Or no, that's the latest.
That's the latest.
Yeah. So we'll say 2 months.
2 months is probably better. Yeah.
Listeners, to give it at least 2 months.
There's no stress behind it. I mean, I've absolutely done it within a month. I've actually done it with less than a month, but you kind of don't really.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. I actually had one client that she booked me about 2 weeks before her wedding. She did order a book, and I was like, "There's no way you're getting that book. I will promise you those images before your wedding day, but not the book."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay." I'm like, "But how about this idea?" I'm like, "Why don't you while you're getting ready, text him one photo an hour every hour to the ceremony?"
Boom!
And also, by the time he sees you on that ceremony, he's wound up.
Oh,
he just like walks down the aisle with a big old boner.
Yeah. And she was like, "That is such a good idea."
He's for sure not crying though. He's for sure not crying. When you walk down the aisle, I'm not crying. I'd be like, "Hey, but you need to walk faster. Let's go."
Imagine that teaser though, right? Because I was like, I can't get him for you in time. I can't get you the album in time. That's not possible.
Yeah.
But maybe we can do something like that where I can get the images done, and then you can kind of do a playful thing, and then I get the album to you as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that is fun. What else are people doing with the images other than
mainly
like albums?
Yeah, mainly
that's
albums.
The main thing that you see.
I've definitely had some print them and they've hung them, which I think is really great.
That's cool.
You know, I had one. I did this one. Poof. Like maybe at least 15 years ago. And every time it's someone I know. So every time I go to the house, he still has it framed next to the bed.
Yeah.
And they've been married like 15 years. And it's so cute. And that was like and it's just like this little, it's right next to the bed. And it's just so cute.
I need to blow up more photos of myself and put it in my own home.
Do it. You have galleries to do so.
I know. That's what I
do. Yeah. Let's do another one.
I need a big canvas. I need a big canvas. Yeah, with the mountain idea.
Do you want a big bear to lay down on, and you can just lay down on a big bear in the cabin in the woods?
Do you mean like a bearskin rug or an actual bear?
Bearskin rug. There we go. That one.
Actual bear. That'd be interesting. I mean,
it's like, do you want to lay down on a bear?
I don't think Yogi Bear is still in season.
Well, there's that famous image from Janice Dickinson. She laid across. I think it was like a bobcat or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she was like wearing just a bikini. I'm like, that was gangster.
Why not?
That is gangster.
So I'm like, it can be done. That's all I'm saying.
That's so funny. Yeah, I love that. I think it's a really fun thing to incorporate into your wedding process in some way. Obviously, it's not like 100% necessary, but it is, again, like a celebration of where you are at that time in your life.
Yeah.
Which is why I could see like getting a boudoir shoot like once every couple of years, because it's like you change, your body changes, your look. Like if you're me, you've got a different boyfriend or partner every couple of years.
I'm hoping for the current one. All right.
We can edit that part out. Always got someone new to show him to.
Yourself. That's all that matters.
Oh my god.
No, but I think
might be my favorite part.
And we can't even use it.
It's okay. I don't think my boyfriend listens to the podcast.
Anyway,
You're all sorry, honey.
We're joining in back on the podcast right now. I'm gonna go ahead and make a little mark, but yes.
Oh my god, that's funny. No, but your wedding obviously is like a milestone. It's a celebration, and so it's like such a good time to also celebrate just where you are physically in that. I've
actually been invited out to bachelorette parties too to do them. Which
is
a whole other level. Yeah, it's fun.
Because then you got a group of girls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You just got all.
That's a really good. No, that's exciting. That's a really good idea.
It's exciting.
I was like,
you're like a whole group of naked girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
You know they're fun.
Yeah, exactly.
They're on another level.
Well, I know like certain wedding parties that are just so much fun.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Like,
yeah.
and,
Women are,
and they bring out the best in
Yeah,
the
there's
couple.
certain groups of girls that would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it has to be the right group of
Yeah.
people. But like, if you have the right group of like hype girls or whoever it is,
Yeah.
oh yeah, bring
Oh,
them.
yeah.
What a fun
Bring
idea
them.
too, like,
That's
because you know
awesome.
how usually it's the wedding party or the like bridesmaids or whatever that are planning the bachelorette party. Like,
Yeah.
what a fun thing if you were the bride to surprise like your girls
Yes.
Oh,
by
yeah.
having that like as kind of a gift
yeah.
back
That'd
to
be
like
sick.
your bridesmaids. That would be
Yeah.
really, really fun.
That'd be
Because
sick.
one of the ones I did, and it was actually in Florida. She had her full session, and then all the girls had like little mini sessions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
And then
Like,
I've had ones where I've done the same thing where they all had little mini sessions, and it's just like the vibe
yeah.
at a bachelorette party is like,
Yeah.
everyone's just vibing and having a good
Oh
time.
yeah.
yeah,
That's
it would
awesome.
almost be like that. Like you have a Palm Springs house rented
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. 100%. No, well, Stephanie actually she's planning a bachelorette party. So I was like, oh, that's another idea right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
it's
100%.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
I do have one question that I've been thinking about is what are like the top 3 questions that all people that call you will always ask? That way you can answer it now and never
Yeah.
have to answer them again.
Well,
Never again.
yeah.
Because everyone will
wish.
listen to this podcast.
I wish.
Honestly, it's more statements, less than questions, because I think the questions are very basic, or I almost answer them right away. So, of course, they're going to ask what's included in the experience, how many outfits they can wear, how
Yeah.
long it's going to last. So
Yeah.
that's definitely more general questions. But most of the time, it's statements of, I'm really not sure if I'm going to be comfortable in front of the camera. Like,
Yeah.
what does this feel like? I'm not sure if I can look as sexy as the girls on your website. Like, that's more
Like the insecurities are
yes.
like brought out
Immediately.
and then you immediately
Yeah.
are like, girl, push
Girl,
that
I
shit off to
got
the
you.
side.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course you're uncomfortable.
Yes,
Oh, all
everyone's
right, cool.
uncomfortable.
Sounds
Yeah, and
good.
I always try to remind them that the girls on my website, I find it such a big compliment for them to say it to me because those girls said the exact same thing that you're saying.
I love that.
Yeah.
All of those girls
That's
said the
awesome.
exact same thing you're saying, and that's why with the new site I just put up, I put before and after client transformations because I want them to see them as the regular women that they are
Yeah.
because every woman has that in them.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not seeing themselves like that; they're seeing themselves like the finished product, and I want them to see that everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone's going on their day to day. You know, they don't look like that every day, but
Yeah.
that
No,
day,
and it's not all like skinny models
No.
that you're doing this for.
No.
I mean, it's mostly not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what's so beautiful is
Yeah.
to be able to see yourself
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the only sub questions is if it's very specific, like if they have some kind of issue or if they have like a big scar or
Yeah.
a big thing, then they talk to me about it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
talk through it because I want to know what their insecurities are, what they're comfortable with, or what they want to showcase.
Yeah.
That's also really important.
yeah.
You know,
Or something if they really are insecure
Kind of
about it.
like-
We can
Yeah.
hide, we can do everything but this
Yes.
angle or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's like whatever
Yes.
you feel sexy with. Do you
Yes.
want to embrace the thing that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
really insecure about, or do you want to just avoid it
Avoid
at
it
all
all
costs?
costs. Yeah,
and Still
exactly.
feel great.
yes, because
We can do either or.
I've had a lot of clients come to me post surgeries or post things that's happened to them in their life, and I want to know right away: are we
Yeah.
celebrating this, or is this something that you don't want to see? Like, I want to make sure to be
love
very
that.
honorable to what
Yeah.
where they're at in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. Did you have any other
No,
questions?
I've
I know. I feel like we hit
thoroughly
all
the
the.
I hope that answered it
conversation.
okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think that's
Absolutely.
so perfect. Well, like I said, I just think you're a gem. So where can our listeners and followers find you, follow you? Your new website is gorgeous.
Look at that camera right
Hello.
The camera.
there.
Just
Yes.
Camera one.
Here you go.
Camera
Wait.
one.
Yes.
No, put that back in my mouth.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry, let me straighten it out.
So my wedding website is Kristina Lee Photography, but then my boudoir website is Boudior by Kristina Lee. They both connect, so you
Love
can go
it.
to either one of them, and they connect to each other. And then my my Instagram is the exact same. Kristina Lee Photography, Boudoir by Kristina Lee.
Yes,
Awesome.
and I
Yeah.
highly recommend
Christina with
you
a K, by the
follow-
way.
With a K.
Christina with a K.
With a K.
And Lee, L-E-E. That's two things that are spelled wrong all the time.
Links are in the show notes. Yes.
Links are in the
Yes,
show notes. We'll have
exactly.
her
We'll tag you.
tags and everything. But I highly recommend following the Boudoir Instagram, even if you're not planning on getting a shoot, because there's some
Just do
good.
it.
There's some good eye
It's
candy.
fun.
on
It's
there.
fun. You can see me twerking with all my
You
clients.
can see
doing
Christina
stupid
twerking,
shit.
and you might see my butthole. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
It
mean,
could happen.
you can see a twerk, you can see a butthole. You don't know. You know, it's like a variety of things
Ooh,
going
what am I
on.
gonna see today?
Well, I've already folled her. Your butthole is not on there.
Not yet.
And
Not
yes,
yet.
you are talking
Not
about-
yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
right.
wait until the
right?
Woods murder session.
Oh,
then we might get
and
a
then it's
butthole.
going to be the inconspicuous. So Instagram can't take it down. They're
No.
going to be like, is that a... I
Wait,
don't know.
what
It's
is
gonna
that?
be so
Is that
close
a
up of my
butthole?
butthole that you can't tell.
It's a macro.
So close.
All parts of the body are beautiful.
We are here to celebrate. And on that note, we're here to celebrate celebrate all of our bodies and all of our things. So cheers to that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, you guys. It was so fun.
Yay. See you next Tuesday.
Peace.